Hello, my ladies. Hello, my grail queens. I hope you are all living your best lives wherever you are tuning in from. Today it was very spontaneous. I was just felt inspired to hop in here and make this video for you. Personally, I haven't been posting as much because I'm in the trenches. I've gotten down the rabbit hole of another layer of my own personal process when it comes to inner work and healing work. In fact, 4:30 today, I have my appointment with my therapist. For those of you curious, I'm diagnosed with what is called FSA, family scapegoat abuse, and suffer from complex post-traumatic disorder. So while I'm bang in the middle of it, and all this has come up along the journey. As you will know, those of you who have watched my older videos, the journey that I've been on in the last 1.5, 2 years of healing my relationship with food and my body. And I must say successfully that I've healed my relationship with my body. And I'm in the process of healing my relationship with food. And along this journey of healing my relationship with food, my abandonment wounding, my mother complexes, my FSA, my complex post-traumatic stress, all of these syndromes and all of these things have come up to the surface to be consciously witnessed, worked with, healed, and alchemized. So that's the journey that I've been on. And that's when I realized, I should come here and talk about mental health and the importance of doing the inner work and doing the healing work. I'm so glad that we live in a world where these things are not shamed or frowned upon or looked down on. Not way back in the recent past, and 20, 30, 40 years back, mental health was, if someone spoke anything of this nature, it was considered to be taboo. It was something you hid and put the lid on and never spoke to anybody about. It was shamed. If you had any kind of mental health issues, then you were considered psychotic, a whack job, and pretty much shunned from your family and the society in general. That was just 30, 40 years back, ladies, believe it or not. It is still there, I must say, in my culture, but the world that I belong to, in my culture, it's thankfully it's not shamed or frowned upon. In fact, it is appreciated and respected, and people are coming out in the open and talking openly about it. And I think that helps. I think honesty around all of these things help. And letting go of the people who shame you around these aspects of your mental health, or who are not supportive and positive and validating about your own mental health processes and journeys. Let these people go and only keep people who are safe, who you feel super safe with while you're going through this deeply transforming inner journey. Yes, so let's dive right in, shall we? I learn through pictures. Pictures mean a lot to me. The symbolism that comes out with pictures, the messages that you get from an image, for me, is so much more potent than spoken words, right? Like they say, a picture speaks 1,000 words. So I'm going to draw a diagram today, and I'm going to just call this the frequency diagram. Okay, we have a glass top. This is any woman's or any human being's core vibration or frequency. All right, so there is a glass top to it, and there is a sticky floor to it, like I call it. All right, the sticky floor and the glass top, and this is our vibration, or this is our frequency, right? We have in upward, ascending, expanding, growing, positive, in creative flow, aligned, joyful, all the beautiful swirls. So you have an upward swirl, and of course you have a downward spiral, which leads all the way down to your sticky floor. Okay. So I'd like you to keep this diagram in mind as we as you come along with me on this conversation, right? So each of us have our own glass ceiling, and each of us have our own sticky floor. Now, of course, these are the feel good states, and these are the not so feel good states. Okay, where do I want to go with this? The importance of healing your inner trauma, whatever core woundings that you might have. And trust me, ladies, I would say 98, if not more, percentage of us have some sort or the other inner work to be done. It's a spectrum. The intensity of it might vary. What type of inner work that you have to do might vary. What core woundings you have might vary. But in general, all of us have core woundings. All of us have some level of inner work and healing journey that we need to go through. And the importance of this, ladies, especially, now let's talk trauma, okay? Let's talk the obvious traumas and the not so obvious traumas that many of us, I would say 95% of us have gone through, all right? It is so important to heal these traumas, ladies, especially if you're one of those souls who's very serious about ascension, growth, and evolution in your life, in whatever form. You might want to, go to the next level in your business, in your job. You want to get your dream job. You want to make more money. You want to create financial independence or freedom or wealth or prosperity or abundance for yourself. You want to create wealth. You want to create your optimal health. You want to be in your divine partnership, a beautiful, healthy marriage. You want to have amazing relationships with your children. Whatever your dreams and goals might be. If you are the kind of person who is on that evolutionary path towards that dream, towards that purpose, then it's important that you do the inner work as well. Not just the activity, not just the obvious external work, but the inner work as well. For example, if you're somebody who is, let's say, making 4K a month, okay, I'm talking USD here. You're making 4K a month, but your dream is to make 6K a month or 10K a month, right? So that is your dream. That is your ascension. That is your evolution when it comes to active monthly income, let's say. trust me, there are some downward, low vibe, low frequency blocks in there regarding this jump. It is only because you have these blocks, these constrictions, these negative beliefs, these false mindsets, these fears around this. That is why you are here. Okay? If you did not have that, you would already be making this. You would already be there. I hope you get me. I've simplified it for you. So that is why doing the inner work, doing the healing work, healing your traumas are very, very, very important. In this particular example that I gave you, if this is your dream or more, but you're here, you're not here right now because there is work here to be done. And of course, you know, the actual three realistic action needs to be taken as well. But for the sake of this video, I'm only going to be emphasizing on this. The inner work needs to be done. It could be fears around money. It could be judgments that you hold around having more money, or judgments you hold about people who have more money, or early childhood programming around money, you know, that money is scarce, there is a lack of money, there's not enough of money to be going around, rich people are bad. If you had desires for luxury or more money, you might have been shamed as a child. You might have bought into this narrative out there that money is evil, right? There are so many things. There are so many things that might be hidden in the subconscious waters of your downward spiral, of your frequency. This is your vibration. This is your frequency. Okay? So those things, those kinks need to be worked out, need to be healed, need to be alchemized, need to be let go of for the frequency to rise, right, to your next glass ceiling. So once you hit this level, that would be a glass ceiling, right, which will have its own sticky floor. I hope I'm making sense here, right? So yes, one aspect of our downward spiral. See, healthy individuals will stay in this range and then constantly keep going up. Okay, they will also have the ups and downs of their frequency, of their states. However, it will not fall here to the sticky floor. What is the sticky floor? Sticky floor can be seen in so many different ways, ladies. The obvious sticky floor symptoms would be addictions, right? If you look at food, it could be like binge eating, like total control around food, and then crazy overeating and binge eating to the extent where you feel sick. That used to be me, right? Or the other side of the spectrum of anemic symptoms and all of those things, eating disorders around that, addictions with alcohol, drugs, sex, you name it, right? What else? Depression. Depression is a very, very obvious sticky floor symptom. Blocks, you feel okay, I don't want to go about blocks there, but what else? You know, these repetitive patterns that you seem to get into, that is just holding you back. It is just like pulling you back. In terms of relationships, an example comes to mind, right? You're watching this channel, You're learning about men, you're understanding about masculine energetics and feminine energetics and the dance between those two. You're learning about healthy relationships and whatnot, and you're healing yourself, you're doing the inner work, and you're starting to attract healthy men, healthy masculine energies into your life, let's say. All right, so you're doing the work, right? This is the work. You're doing the work on all of these things that I spoke about, and then you are attracting healthy masculine men into your life. And suddenly this entity shows up, okay? And you are madly, crazily attracted to this entity, this man, this person, okay? The chemistry is intense, but you know it is so obvious that it's a toxic relationship. Now, many of us ladies might be caught up in these repetitive patterns with relationship, all right? You're doing all the work, some good men are coming, but you might not be attracted to that good, healthy man, for instance, and then some toxic red flag sort of a man for you comes up, and you're so crazily attracted to him. The chemistry is off the charts, you're obsessed, and you're drawn to it, and you know you are walking into hurt and pain and rejection and abandonment and heartbreak, and you uncontrollably are pulled to it, and you just walk towards it, okay? An obvious red flag of an entity, a man. And you might realize it's a repetitive pattern in your dating life. Now, that's a classic example of a sticky floor symptom, which means there is some trauma there from your childhood that needs to be looked at, that needs to be healed, that needs to be brought up to your consciousness and worked through and alchemized through, okay? So there is no shame, ladies, okay? All of us are pretty much traumatized in this life, okay? However healthy your family has been, in my books, you're probably traumatized somewhere, okay? In some form, shape, or level. So no shame in it. If you find yourself in addictive patterns around, say, money, food, addictive substances, some situation, some type of relationship or a person, or whatever it might be, some addiction, some repetitive pattern that you're simply not able to let go of, and you want to create something better for yourself, but then this thing happens. For example, your glass ceiling is 4K, but you want to make 10K. But what happens is you're just so drawn to splurging. You're addicted to shopping, or you just don't know how to hold money, or you have a gambling addiction or whatever, right? So that might pull you back, and it's not about the addiction, all right, or the action, or let's say it could be porn or food or alcohol. It's not about the substance or the action. Of course, it's an external manifestation of deeper issues, but there is a core wounding behind it. There's a trauma behind it, all right? And that is what we call inner work. It is so important because you cannot fly higher than your sticky floor, okay? It's gonna pull you down. Let me repeat that again. You cannot fly higher than your trauma. Ladies, are you listening to me? You cannot fly higher than your wounding. You cannot fly higher than your toxic frequencies in your field. It needs to be looked into. It is so important. This is the reason why I'm saying that trauma healing work, inner healing work. There's no shame around it. Roll up your sleeves, and it's work. It's not called trauma resting or trauma sleeping, okay? It is work. It's a lot of things you have to do to alchemize and release and let go of these traumas from your past, woundings, co-woundings, you name it, okay? And when you do the work, the attachment releases, all right? You don't get stuck into those repetitive patterns again. You learn how to self-soothe. When you're here and you know you're going down the dark tunnel, the dark night of the soul, or your downward spiral, when you're here, when and when your state shifts from this neutral to here, you can feel it. You will be able to catch it, and you will, if you do the work, you will have the support of self-soothing tools, self-soothing activities, self-regulating activities, support structures, self-regulating support structures, tools, people, places, things that you can do to make sure that you don't get here to zero. If this is 100, if this is your 100, this is your 0. Okay. So trauma healing, ladies, very, very important. Now let's talk about the various forms of doing the inner work, right? Now, if your traumas, all right, if your core woundings are raw, very fresh, you've not looked into it, it's new, and when you think about it, or when you journal about it, or when you're triggered because of it, if you're getting into very crazy states of grief, all right, or sadness, it's very, very deep, or your lots of anger comes up and you don't know why you are angry, okay? Something triggers you and there is a very, very intense reaction for it, right? Outburst, terrifying anger, if inappropriate level of emotional reactions to some trigger. These are all signs that you need help, all right? There is some trauma, there is some wounding that you gotta heal. Now, again, like I was saying, what are the different types of healing modalities, inner work modalities? The number one, of course, is seeking therapy, counseling with a reputed, certified therapist and counselor, psychologist. Depends on your wounding, the level of your wounding. Maybe you need psychiatric help as well. All right. So either medically or through psychology, therapy, counseling. Make sure you go to a number of people until you find the therapist who you feel safe with. You got to be able to feel safe with your therapist, right? And that therapist should be making you feel validated, should be making you feel seen, heard, and he or she should be an expert in his field with a number of years of actual real life experience, and of course board certified and whatnot. All right, so make sure that you choose the right therapist for you. On such a open platform, I would strongly recommend BetterHelp. I use them myself, like right now, my therapist who I have an appointment with today. It's through BetterHelp, right? So I would strongly recommend you to BetterHelp. It's an app. You can download it into your iPad or your phone, and you can message them. You can, free messages, unlimited messages. You can voice call, you can leave voice messages, you can have video calls through the app with your therapist. You can change therapists. There are so many things you could. Their app is beautiful, right? You have your own journal in the app, that you can make visible to your therapist, or you can keep it personally for you. You can schedule your appointments through the app. There's so many different things you can do. So yes, I strongly recommend BetterHelp. All right, so please, I strongly recommend. I can't say this enough, especially if the grief that's coming around your trauma and your wounding is intense, the feelings are intense, or your reactions are intense, or you've been doing something. Okay, this is another thing I've noticed, and I've made this mistake as well. It's called spiritual bypassing. Okay, especially souls who are attracted to my channel, my work. You are very deep souls. You are, what do I say? Probably empaths, light workers, star seeds, and you have very deep souls. All right, you're very strong spiritually, and you have a lot of psychic gifts, and you are truth seekers. You are truth speakers, you are truth holders, you can see behind the veil very easily. So you are like gifted souls. All right, I truly believe this. People who are attracted to my work are definitely gifted souls. All right, so for some of us, actually taking external help through therapy might be a little, you know what, I can figure this out myself. Right? I've made this mistake many times before, because we are very deeply spiritual, and we've alchemized, we've done so much of inner work, we've let go of so much shit, and we've handled so many things on our own, just with God, Goddess, and our souls internally within us. We might shy away from taking external physical help through another individual. Okay, especially if you have trust issues and all of those things which stem from other core woundings, inner child hurts. This can be difficult. It is a very humbling process to, at a certain level, it's very humbling process to bring yourself down from the spiritual high horse and take and give yourself permission, allow yourself to be held and supported by, other people, experts and professionals in their industry. So, if you're having a repetitive addiction, a repetitive negative pattern, a repetitive issue, and you know when you have an issue, ladies, right? It comes up, it just repeatedly comes up, all right? Or you get stuck in this fight, flight, freeze, or fawn moding, right? If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it up. I don't want to digress trying to explain what these terms are. So if you get into your survival mode constantly, there's an addictive pattern, there is a negative repetitive pattern, there is depression there is like these negative states, these low vibe states that you constantly get into, and you're stuck there. You just can't seem to release yourself from these things that keep dragging you down into these stuck abyss places, and you just whatever, right? It's a myriad of ways it can show itself in, and you've been doing certain things, all right, to help yourself through this process. You've been doing some spiritual work, you've been doing meditation, you've been seeking the help of this or this. Let's say you have 4 or 5 modalities that you've been working with yourself with. But then it keeps coming up. It keeps repeating over and 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 over again for years. Then, ladies, doing the same thing over and over and over again, but then expecting a different result, you know what it's called. Okay, it's called stupidity. Okay, it means you might need other types of modalities and support, and other types of codes, other types of, you know, work that needs to be done around your trauma. So I'm just listing different types here, but at least in my culture, I feel there is still a little bit of shyness towards going there, though, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, we've come a long way around all of this, but we're still not where, you know, getting a therapist for yourself is as neutral as and you know, respected as you would get a physical trainer for yourself, right? We're not there yet. So there might be some things that keep you away from this kind of work. Either you feel you don't need it, okay, but then you're doing the same things, the same modalities that you've been working on for years, and the addictions keep coming back up, the negative patterns keep coming back up, the depression keeps coming back up. All right, so then, ladies, do something else. Try something else. Try therapy and search for the right therapist. And I strongly suggest BetterHelp, and work with that person. Okay. That is, again, so that is a form of inner work to heal your woundings and your traumas. The next thing I would strongly recommend is reading. Okay? Read, pick up books, and pick up all the books. Okay? Oh my God, reading, if there was one habit I can just, if I had a magic wand, and if I had one habit that I can make all my viewers to embody, then this would be the habit of reading books. Ladies, trust me, it is such a potent, powerful, magical, it's everything for me. Like, reading is everything. If you want to grow, ascend, if you want to live your best life, reading has to be a part and parcel of your everyday routine. You got to have disciplines around it. You got to be a reader. Okay, that has to be your self-identity. I'm a reader. Okay, for some of you who love tarot, we have two major arcanas, initial two major arcanas that symbolize feminine energies, and the first one of them is the High Priestess. And if you look at the High Priestess card, the original form of it, she'll be reading. All right, so read, ladies. Read. So important. So pick up all the books. If you like to read books in their physical form, buy them through Amazon. Like me, if you need all your library with you on your iPad, buy them on Kindle. Have a library, the physical library or an online library, and buy the books around the core wounding, around your core trauma. If it is, see, intellectually understanding something is a huge layer of healing on its own. It's see, the mind, your intellect, your focus, your attention is connected to so many other things. Your mental nervous system is connected to the nervous system in the rest of your body. Okay, so this is very, very, very important, ladies. For example, I'll give you a personal example. I suffer from FSA, which is family scapegoat abuse, and I have stress, post-traumatic stress disorder from that. It's called complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And I wish I could show you my Kindle list on the number of books that I've read on this topic and currently reading on this topic. See, it is not just about the intellectualization and the ideation and the mental understanding about a certain topic. Okay, you are also privy and seeing the experience. You are experiencing the journey of the author who's gone through something like this, for instance, and who's healed and who's embodied the frequency of that healing, and he or she has written that book. Or if it's a professional who's written that book, he has walked other souls through their own processes and their own healing journeys around that trauma. And he holds the keys, the frequencies, and the vibrations of a healer who could do that kind of healing work. And he or she has written that book. And you just coming in contact with that work and absorbing it and focusing on it, putting your attention on it and reading the stories, understanding it, is a huge difference. It is not just intellectualizing and ideating around these concepts, okay? Don't think that books are not just, it is much more energetic than that. You read a book, let's say you like me suffer from complex post-traumatic disorder, and you do your research and you find the best books on these topics and you read them, you consume them. It's not just a mind thing. Like I said, your mental nervous system is connected to the nervous system of your heart. It is connected to the nervous system of your other nervous systems in your body. So reading is not just for your mind, ladies. Reading is for your entire being. Okay, so read on this topic. The second thing, find a community of people doing this work. It could be on Facebook, it could be through an author's community, or it could be a coach. If it's lighter work that you have to do around this topic, then you can look at a life coach. Like, remember the diagram that I drew? Okay, if your sticky floor is not that sticky and you've already done like 80% of the work and you just have some 30% to reach the neutral and then fly, then I would recommend a life coach and his or her community around your trauma and your wounding. Okay. If you feel there are a lot more dark nights of the soul that you're experiencing, a lot more grief, a lot more survival responses, a lot more flight, fight, fawn, freeze responses that you are holding and experiencing in your day-to-day life, then go and be part of support communities led by therapists and psychologists, right? That's why you read. You get to know these people and be part of their community, paid membership community, or a Facebook, Instagram, or their web page community. All right, so seek and find out communities around the specific kind of inner work that you need to be doing. Right. The fourth modality is spirituality. Okay, so spirituality is just one modality. Imagine if you're like want to do something, want to get something sorted in your life. I would suggest doing all of these things at the same time, like I am at the moment, to heal my FSA, you know, FSA related complex post traumatic stress disorders. And this kind of work, okay, if you're choosing to do everything at the same time, is not for the faint of heart. It's not for the light-hearted, okay? You got to have a certain, firstly, physically, practically, if you're wanting to do everything together, you need to have the time and space and finances for it, right? So you got to be well provided for. It's a luxurious, yeah, it's intense, deep, heart wrenching. I've lost count of the number of times I've shed tears, for instance, right? It's deeply somatic, and when you do a deep, intense work on one day, you might be like bedridden, or you might not be able to move and be productive for the next few days, for instance, right? So you got to be able to have that financial support, the protection, the provision, to be able to do this kind of work. So that is why, if you're following my work, if you're following my channel, ladies, you know what I'm talking about: the soft life, the glow up life, the feminine life, and having a masculine provider, protector, a husbandry coded kind of man in your life. Because when you have this type of a safe container that your husband will provide you with, then doing all of these things at the same time is very, very, very possible for you, like it is for me. Okay, so yes, spiritual work around it and belonging to spiritual communities around it. What do I mean by spiritual work? It could be any number of things. Okay, it could be meditation, it could be some ritual, it could be part of a community that does spiritual work around these things. Spirituality is a huge topic on its own. So basically, like, spiritual energetic, I'm going to call it, spirituality is basically energetic work. Okay, so this is therapy. Counselor is more communicative kind of work, okay, with a very accurate, very validating, safe and adequate mirror for you, which is your therapist or your counselor. Then reading would be a more mental kind of work, community, and either with a life coach or the community that professionals like this have formed for healing. That would be more, at all levels, healing, it would be like all encompassing. Spirituality is more energetic work. Okay, and through all of these things, you will have emotional work that you will do. Okay, so these are the various modalities, ladies, and I hope through this video you kind of understand the importance of doing the inner work and the healing work around your trauma and your core woundings, and you've learned some ways in which you can do the inner work. Okay, so let me know in the comments. These are the modalities that I personally use in my journey, in my processes. Let me know in the comments if you have any other form of modalities that you think might help the other ladies watching this. Let us know. I would love to hear from you. What else? Is there anything else that I want to share? Yes. This work is got to, if you're an astrologer, okay, it's got to do with your 8th house and your 12th house. Okay, this work would pretty much bring stuff up from your own subconscious and the collective subconscious or generational subconscious, from your own shadow, from your own spaces in your field, in your mind, in your body that you're not consciously aware of, or you had to shove under the carpet, that you had to dissociate with from in order to survive in your younger years. So that is part of your own subconscious mind, your own shadow. So all this work has got to do with that. Trauma work, inner work, healing work has all got to do with 8th house related stuff, all right? The deep waters, as I call it, and the 12th house. So it's not just about your own subconscious, all right? If you look at Carl Jung's philosophies, for instance. See, I want to talk about something that I was observing, but I sat and actually spent a few moments thinking about it today. See, in my household, like you, if you've been watching my videos, you know Nico, our fancy golden retriever, and Bella, our rescue puppy. Okay, she's a rescue puppy from the streets. When I found her, she was around 10 days, less than 2 weeks old, completely traumatized. It was a rainy season, so she was abandoned in the middle of the road. It was raining, and the doctors, the vet, who reached out to me. I was part of this fostering community system in my city back at that time, and so my details were with this animal shelter place, and they reached out to me saying that they had a puppy and she's just gonna, if lucky, survive for a couple of days. And they told me she's probably 10 or 2 weeks old, not more than that, and she hasn't eaten for a week. Okay, and she couldn't stand up. She couldn't even, forget standing up, she could not even roll over. She could not open her eyes. We gave her like stomach worm injections 4 or 5 times, and she was such a tiny little puppy, okay, really small for her age, very, very, of course, malnourished. Her bones were visible, and her stomach used to be this size. And I always wondered, like, she hasn't eaten for like so long, and why is her stomach this big? It was full of worms. It was just full of worms. It's heart-wrenching. So the vets just told me that Bella probably has just a few days to live, and we can't keep her and take care of her in the shelter. So would you help us by fostering her until she dies, pretty much? And I was part of their fostering system, so I was like, okay. I wasn't fostering any puppies at that point, and I was available free. I was like, okay, bring her over, I'll take care of her and do my best, and let's see. So of course she was full of ticks, and oh my god, let me not go there. So I was healing her. So she's had a very, very traumatic childhood. Okay, that's Bella for you. She's a healthier, happier 3.5-year-old dog that you see running around in my videos sometimes. Okay, and then the fancy golden retriever, he's a 1.5 years. His name is Nico, and he comes from this fancy ass lineage. His dad is at the moment he won some championship, and he is India's #1 in some championship. Okay, my husband's very, very proud of that, and he showed me his certificate and his medal and the poster that was done about the stud, right? The stud that is Nico's dad, and his mom also is from some fancy lineage. So in my household, we have a dog that comes from a fancy, well-fed, well-cared for, nourished, loved, taken care of lineage. And we also have Bella, our baby, from a very traumatized, from the streets, abandoned to die kind of childhood, And you can only imagine her mom's life or father's life and their mom and father's life. Okay, so that's the lineage Bella comes from, and the lineage that Nico comes from, you just heard it from me. Now, believe it or not, ladies, there is such a huge difference in the way Bella responds and experiences life compared to Nico, the way he responds and experiences life. It is chalk and cheese. It's the same world, it's the same environment, it's the same mommy and the same daddy and the same people around them. It's the same environment, all right? But then the way Bella responds to that environment in certain situations and the way Nico responds is chalk and cheese. All right. One instance, every time we have to take Bella out for a walk, we take them out 2 times a day for their potty and their daily activity, running around, walk. Every time we have to take Bella out, she resists. Her entire body trembles. Okay, she has this freeze. She gets frozen and terrified to such an extent that her entire body shivers. And then, of course, we soothe her with our voice, with our touch, and we make sure we don't take her out for too long. And as soon as you go out, she just finishes her business and she just wants to run back home. Okay, so now contrast when it comes to Nico. Once he knows we're going walking, he gets so excited. Okay, he has a very naughty side to him, so he gets so excited, and the way he expresses that naughtiness is excitement is through his naughtiness, and it's adorable to watch. He play around, jump around, excited, play with his harness, play with his leash, and then make a huge hangama about it, and then we have to put him on this thing and be grinning and be wagging his tail, be so excited to go out. And he'll go out and have fun trotting around. He has no problems looking at everybody, smelling the air. He has no problems exploring new territories. And then he doesn't want to come back home because he's had such a grand old time in the world. Okay. He wants to run, prance, he wants to play, he wants to discover new things. Right, the opposite of Bella. Bella just, as soon as she's done her business, she wants to get back home, which is where she feels the safest. And even in our room, our bedroom is like their room. Bella has her 4 feet by 3 feet sort of a bed. That is her safe space. That is the space where she is the safest. So any survival traumatic response that she has, the space that she goes to is her bed. Okay, Nico, the whole house is his safe space. He has no problem. Of course, he adores Bella. He's obsessed with Bella. So wherever Bella is, he's there most of the time. So Bella is in her bed in our room. So he's near her bed in our room most of the time. Can you see that? That's Nico, by the way, taking his afternoon nap. He had a big meal, right? So where am I going with all of this? Lineage, ancestral trauma. Okay, believe it or not, ladies, we carry our ancestral traumas in our DNAs, in our system, in our frequencies, in our vibration. It is encoded in it. It could either be from your own subconscious, especially your childhood, or traumatic experiences like a breakup or death or something, and you just dissociated, disconnected, and for survival in that moment, you had to shove away a lot of parts of you, right? So all of those things goes into your subconscious, your shadow. And Nico and Bella, their lineage and how they react in the world. Many of your sticky flow problems could also be arising from your lineage, your paternal lineage, your maternal lineage, goes back, going back to generations. Carl Jung also talks about the collective. Okay, so your subconscious and your lineage, your ancestral subconscious, is all 8th house stuff in astrology. If you look at 12th house stuff in astrology, it's like what Carl Jung talks about, the collective subconscious, all right? The collective, like your family or your society or your community or your country or the world in general, the stuff that is shoved, put aside into the collective subconscious, the collective shadow. That is what in astrology we call the 12th house stuff, all right? Those are things that can and are affecting us as well, and will be part of our sticky flow, which is just not allowing us to grow beyond a point, and pulls us back down, keeps pulling us back down into our addictive, repetitive patterns. So we got to do the work. We got to do the work, ladies. We got to do the inner work around all of these things. We got to do the healing work. Go get a therapist. Go read those books. Be part of communities. Do the energetic healing, spiritual work around it. Do the emotional healing work around all of these things. And it's a process. It's a journey. I want to end with a very hopeful note. Yes, you can completely heal from it. It's almost like, how I would like to describe it is this way, ladies. Your problems will still remain because the world has these energies and vibrations in it all the time. So the problems, I wouldn't call it problems, it's just that you become a person who is bigger than that, problem. Let me give you an example. For me, in my personal journey, for instance, love has been a big thing, all right? Growing up in an environment where there was no love, or a very unhealthy, toxic, unhealthy, narcissistic expression of love. And no, please, I'm not blaming anybody from my early childhood days. It is what it is, right? So what was I saying? I lost my track of thoughts here, ladies. Give me a minute. Right, so what was I saying? I'm drawing a blank at the moment. Feeling slightly embarrassed. Wow. Yes, so I was giving a personal example, right? So yes, my childhood. I come from like, as women, we have seasons to our lives, and in the way I would tell my story if someone asked is my first 20 years of my life was my trauma years. That was my trauma season. Okay. So where was I going with this? Okay, I'm gonna let that go. Okay. So emotional healing around all of these things, and while you're doing this work also, ladies, make sure that keep it to yourself. Only work it with your professionals. And if at all you're sharing your inner work journey with someone, let it be only with people who you feel completely safe with, right? And there is a certain quality of consciousness in that friendship or relationship. Only share your deep inner workings with those people that you feel totally emotionally safe with. Please do not share it with anybody else. And if you don't have people in your life that you completely feel emotionally safe with, ladies, then there is no necessity to go around telling anybody any details about your own therapy or inner work journey that you're going on, really. Okay, so yes. Do I remember what I lost a couple of minutes back? No, it doesn't come back to me. Forget it. Okay, so this is another thought comes to me, and we'll end this video with this. Okay, so accomplishments in life, all the dreams that you want to accomplish, the divine marriage, the beautiful, healthy, beautiful, happy family and children, the money, the wealth, the abundance, the success, the optimal health, and the beauty, or whatever, okay, whatever. If that is your dream house and all of those things, of course, there are actual actions you can take around reaching those things, and those are very important, okay? Very, 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 very important. Actual actions, like if you want to have your dream body, then container disciplines around, aligned disciplines around food, when you have it, how much you have, what you have, in a very aligned, self-honoring, self-loving way. Disciplines and containers around all that, and disciplines and containers around workout and exercise, which is again in a very self-honoring, aligned, self-loving way, right? So those actions are very, very, very important. Also, so these masculine actions are important, and the feminine magic work is also important, which is the inner work, all right, which is the healing work, which is the somatic work. There's one more important. A lot of us, because the world recognizes this, the world validates this, appreciates this, applauds this, sees this, understands this. So a lot of people get stuck with just doing this, okay? And especially for us women. See, for men this might work. For men this, but every man also has an anima, as Carl Jung calls it, or a feminine energetic inside of him, okay? So if he doesn't do this work, then there's only so much he can accomplish, okay? So if not 50, if you're a man in a man's body, right, this should be more. This should be more than 50%. Okay, both are important, but if you're in a man's body and you're in the masculine essence more, then you got to do more of this. Now, if you're a woman, all right, with a feminine essence, feminine body, feminine energetics, then you got to do more of this towards accomplishing something. Okay, it's a very deeply inside out journey. You got to do this too. Okay, both are important, but I would say this is very, very important for us, because when we do this work, this deep water, deep work, and of course these aligned works on this side of the spectrum, when we create, when we accomplish, it's almost magical, ladies. Okay, for a man it might be very linear. Okay, that's the masculine essence. It might be very linear for a man. He might make 4,000, then 6,000, then 10,000, 15,000, yada yada yada. But if you look at a man who's embodied with his feminine essence, or a very feminine woman doing this work, okay, it would be like quantum jumps. It would be like 4, then suddenly 40, and then suddenly 100, depending on the kind of work she does. Okay, it could be the same for a man who has a strongly well-developed feminine energy in him or around him as well. So these magical quantum jumps can happen for a man as well, if he has a grail queen in his close inner circle, or as a wife or a mother, for instance. Okay, so there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I had fun creating it for you. Know that you are loved, know that you are precious, know that you are unique, special, and adorable. I love you, ladies. Sending you all my love and hugs, and I hope you go ahead, live your best life. Bye.